hi, and welcome to All Our Hearts and Minds. Thank you again for tuning in. We're here to discuss all things that have been on our hearts and minds. The good, the bad, the concerning, and uplifting, or just straight talk. We're your hosts, Kimmy, our passionate heart,
yeah,
and me, Jeanette, our mind and chronic overthinker. Let's get into it.
please, and thanks.
Another week. We reach another week.
Listen.
How have you been? Like, let's do our little checkup. How are you feeling? How are you feeling? Spirit is in good spirits and everything?
Yes, everything's been, it's been pretty good. I can't complain, to be quite honest. Been doing a little bit more shopping for the wedding and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So things are starting to come together. They're starting to come together. Just the way I envision it. But overall, the week wasn't that bad, I only went into the office once this week, which was nice.
Okay.
But next week, I'll be in there for 3 days. This is the new hybrid that they have going on, so I guess they're trying to get back to normal, but it's still summer hours type thing, things are not really popping too tough. We're busy, but, it could be a lot worse. Let's just say that.
I find generally summers, like, everybody has a mindset where it's like, yes, we have to work, but it's also summer.
Right?
So people just take it like you're working, but I feel like people like give you a little bit more grace in the summer, like you get people going summer vacations, family stuff, schools out, all type of things happen where we're just not, the grind isn't as intense as normal, I find in the summers, which always appreciated. That's good. I'm glad to hear that. Sounds like you're, everything's going good. Wedding stuff is on the go, and you sound in good spirits. You don't sound stressed, so everything is good, I guess.
Yeah, I'm just trying to take one day, literally.
One day at a time. You know that song that there's a song, there's a gospel. I think it's a country song, but Jamaican people love to sing it, and it goes, "One day at a time, sweet Jesus."
Yeah,
I remember. So when those times happen, sing that to yourself. So
exactly. So how you been? What's going on with you?
My week was pretty good considering that I got the viddy viddy bang bang. I got the vid. Miss Rona got me.
Yes, man,
finally got me caught up with me.
She's making her rounds. You understand?
She is making, Miss Rona is making her rounds, boy.
There is.
Because the fact that I got it has to be making her rounds.
Making her rounds.
Yeah, it wasn't until I actually got it where I started noticing like because I completely just wiped it from my mind. I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, but I mean, not in a ignorant way, but in a way where I'm not really paying attention. It's like, it's just something that's there and I'm living, and it's just there, and that's life, right? And then it's not until I got it and then I saw the news where like, yeah, that new subvariant of Omicron is having another wave right now. And so I got licked with it. But fortunately it was not anything crazy. It's typical standard stay home with a cold type of situation, and so and I'm feeling much better today. It's about
I am very thankful for. I'm glad that
so just
well.
And then so I was just home. I was working, but I was taking it easy, kept everything to a minimum, canceled anything that was like not super important, and just kept my meetings that were high importance, and just rested up. But all good. And my mom, parents are gonna parent. And every day my dad calls me twice, one in the morning, one in the evening. Take your Buckleys. He's like, Jeanette, take the Buckleys.
Right?
Take the Buckleys in the morning and in the evening. And then I hear oh my God, it's terrible. Like, it's literally my body, like, literally convulses. Like,
right.
It's so disgusting.
It is.
But
job. It does the job. It
It
does.
yeah, I get it definitely clears up that congestion, and it's good. You have to, like, I'm not gonna lie, like, I hit the minute I noticed I was like not feeling right, I was hitting myself with the remedies, the gargle, salt water, the ginger, the garlic, the lemon, every
Mhm.
concoction that they
Those
have.
things.
I had a little touch of rum left. Had some rum.
Yes,
Every little thing was going on
yes.
over here.
What do you
So
think we
that's why
used to
by the
do before we had all these medicines? What do you think we
yeah,
used to
oh
do?
yeah, I was like
You
hitting
know?
myself with the remedies.
Yeah, and I swear they're the ones that actually really help, because
No,
what
I
you
honestly, like, I feel like there's nothing better, like, salt water. If
mhm,
there's anything you're gonna do
mhm,
outside of, like, get your lemon and ginger or whatever, but the salt water kills bacteria. So especially when you feel the minute I feel any itch in my throat, I start
mhm,
gargling, because there's nothing worse than the sore throat. Like, I won't let it go past an itch.
mhm,
Or a scratch,
mhm,
whatever they call it. But anyway,
mhm.
I made it through. I'm healthy. Had a decent week,
Amen.
all things
Mhm.
considered. And yeah, we're here for another episode. This week, I kept it light with the headlines, but when we were doing our pre-show meeting, we didn't talk about this, but I did want to call out and say a prayers up, a rest in peace to those people and victims of the Highland Park shooting that happened in, I believe it was Chicago,
Mhm. Yep, heard about it.
for the
Yeah.
4th of July.
Oh,
I believe it's Chicago. And there was a young man who had an assault rifle and randomly
I
just
thought it was
shot at
Minnesota.
people.
Was it Minnesota?
Yeah, I'm
Minnesota.
checking that now. I want to it's Illinois. So yeah, Highland Park,
Illinois.
Illinois. I think it's somewhere outside of Chicago, but it's in the state of
Right, right,
Illinois.
right.
And yeah, so just want to shout that out. Very senseless
Mhm.
killing. And there's a toddler that lost both his parents, a
Jesus.
daughter, a 23-year-old who had to run away from her mother. It's very, very tragic,
Unsettling.
senseless, and everybody came out to enjoy their 4th of July, and I believe it's about 9 people dead and many
Oh,
people
Jesus.
wounded.
Lord God.
Woo! Yeah, and also want to shout out the victim of another police shooting, Jalen Walker. That's another one I saw that we didn't talk about, but I just want to acknowledge. It's like we just been going through so much with this, and like again, we get a video of a young man. Like, it was a traffic stop, and they shot him 90 times, and he was
90
hit
times.
60. And this is for a traffic stop. The young man, he did run away, but I mean, I'm not even trying to justify anything, but
No,
for
but
those
this is
who
becoming an everyday event.
for those who do try to justify this, first of all, 60 shots, even if he had a gun, even he didn't have one, and it was clear he didn't have one. But even if he did have one, still shame on the police.
But here's
60?
the thing with that, though, Jeanette, right? Is that these cops are trained. They're trained that if they
Mm-hmm.
need to, they'll kill. That if they need to, they'll,
Mm-hmm.
you know, get you down to the floor,
Shoot to kill.
debilitate you. Yeah, well,
Yes.
shoot to kill or shoot to debilitate. I can't. The
Yeah,
word is
like
not
you
coming
should be
to me.
able to shoot somebody in
But
their leg
to
or
somehow
something to
stop
take them
them,
down. Right. Yeah, I get
right?
it.
So they're trained to do
Neutralize.
this. So
Neutralize.
neutralize. There we go. Why is it 90
Mm.
when it could really only take one or
Why
two
did
shots?
like why did 8 officers have to shoot?
The
Like,
whole
you're just
fucking
acting like
police
this.
force is out
Is this
there
a
in this
Rambo?
shit.
Like, what's
Like,
happening here?
sorry, excuse my language, but it just rubs me the wrong way because we're constantly seeing this. It's on all the
Yeah,
time, and I'm
and
sorry, but they're not even trying to hide it. They're not even trying to cover it up. They're not even trying to do better. They're not trying to retrain. They're not trying to use the tactics that they're taught. It's just getting to the point where 90 rounds, really?
yeah, it's actually
The
sickening.
boy must have
Like,
looked
that's why
like
I didn't
mint
even
to me.
really. Yeah, and you know what the sickest part of that is? On top of that, they arrested his lifeless body. They put handcuffs
Can
on
you
his lifeless
imagine?
body. And I'm just like,
Mm.
90 rounds. It's like, I feel like you're trying to send a message. Like, this isn't even like,
This is what I'm trying
what
to
is
say to
this?
you. This is exactly what I'm trying to say, Jeanette.
And
It's
you know
like
what?
this
I
is
really
like
didn't want to get into this story, but I just didn't feel right not to bring it up. But because like I don't want to get upset and like think about like it's just like what? This is sick. This is like you did this on purpose. Like this to me is like you're the the police of Ohio, or I believe it's Ohio, Akron, Ohio is where it happened. Like what are you trying to say? So,
we don't care.
um,
That's what
we
this
don't
said.
really care,
That's
motherfuckers,
what
and
they said.
somebody needs to get fired or charged. Actually, forget fired. Somebody needs to be charged.
Like,
At least
and
two.
it's
There's.
becoming to the point that
Mhm.
it's like they're not even trying to hide it no more. Like they have it so in our face. It's
Mm,
all the
mm, mm,
time.
mm, mm.
This is ridiculous. Like it's getting to the point where we have to do a clean sweep of the entire police force. Like I'm sorry, but I don't understand why you're not using the training. I
Mm,
it's a senseless killing. It's a traffic stop. The worst that he could have done at that point in time was what? Blow a light? Like really?
mm,
90
exactly.
shots? Sorry.
Yep.
That can't be justifiable to me.
Mhm.
And whoever else decided to join in on the 90 shots, may God have, mercy on your soul because it wasn't necessary. You were the seventh man wasn't necessary to draw his gun.
Mm.
The sixth man, the fifth man, they weren't necessary to draw their gun, but they did. So, it's disturbing in that way. But anyway, let's move on and get all
Yeah,
this
let's move on.
this
We just I just
madness.
we want to acknowledge those lives. Whew. Yeah, but so I was going to talk about a couple of Toronto or local news up in Canada. First of all, I guess you suffered it maybe
Yes, I sure
yesterday or
did.
yeah, the
Hmm.
Rogers wireless internet services for people who don't know or you're in the US or outside of Canada. In Canada, we have a probably three companies have a monopoly on our wireless or mobile service here in Canada, unfortunately, and I hope this will be a signal of this changing. And one
It
of the
sure.
major suppliers, which is Rogers, their service went out, and the country, mostly Toronto, was in a tizzy.
In
No internet. Can you
uproar.
imagine a
Yes,
whole
I did
day without
imagine. I was
internet?
in it. I
Well,
was
you
in
lived
it.
there. So how was your day? I was fortunate enough
It
not to
was
rely on
times
Rogers.
seven. Okay. Here's the what I wanted to say about this. Now, for
Yeah.
me, I do use my cell phone, but I'm not attached to it by the hip.
Mm, mm,
Now, there's
mm,
a lot going on in my life right now with planning this wedding and doing all these extra stuff and working and being a mom. And
mm,
so I need access to my phone. I need access for people to call me. I can't have no delay. So the good thing in my day, and I like to look at the good side of things sometimes because it helps you keep sane, and that is I was working from home, so I have Bell at home, and so I was able to still access the internet. I was able to still email people. I was able to do all those things. However, calling NASA from around 7:30 in the morning, I'm like, what's wrong with
mm.
my phone, bro? What's going on? Nobody ever called Rogers here. And sure enough, I couldn't do none of the kind. So I couldn't call, I couldn't text, I couldn't get emails. Even when I used my Wi-Fi at home, I was only able to email and get
Mhm.
emails, and that was it. I wasn't able to call. I found out later in the evening that I could use WhatsApp to
Yeah.
call, but it didn't occur to me during the day. So while being at home, I kept in contact with my daughter's school because that was the most nerve wracking.
Mhm.
Was not being able to, if they need me, I'm available, right? And so I didn't like that about Rogers and their nonsense. But what really perplexed me was the response that Rogers gave to their customers. It was so telltale. And what it told me was they couldn't give a shit. You understand? They couldn't
So
give
what
a
were they? Why do you say that? What did they say to
I
you?
say that because they did not keep anybody updated. It went out from like 6 in the morning, and
Hmm.
nothing was said until like 11, 12 o'clock in the day.
Mm.
So hello, don't you think that we should know? Like you should have
Yeah.
publicized that. Like
Immediately,
you should say in
they should have tweeted
immediately
that.
when you notice that the core system is being is malfunctioning or whatever the case might be. So not having that ability really said something to me, and that is I need to call Bell and I need to sign up with a plan with Bell because
Yeah, I think they lost a lot of customers yesterday. They lost
I
a
have been
shit
with
ton of.
Rogers, no word of a lie, for almost 17 years.
Mm,
Okay? I've been with them for a long time when they first came out. And I've been a loyal customer. I've had to deal with countless hours of nonsense with them. And Bell is no better. Bell is no better. They're feisty because they understand that they are the ones that have the towers here in Canada. They have the
mm,
towers. And everybody buys the towers from them. So they have a
mm.
stinkness to them. They have a feistiness, a hierarchy to this thing. And Bell's on top. So they know they're not that much better in terms of customer service. But in terms of service,
The quality
there's
of
no
service, yeah.
way that this would happen with Bell and they would wait that long to respond to people. They couldn't because the
Yeah,
towers are being bought from Bell. So if anything happens, everybody would be knocked out.
yeah.
Rogers, Telus, everybody would be knocked out. Fido, everybody would be knocked out if something happened with Bell. So they have to respond quickly. So I didn't like the lack of response or and when they did respond, you don't know nothing about nothing. And it's like, bro, I need you to have in this time figured out what the hell is the problem. But later in the evening, after I got my daughter, I felt a lot better. But for the
Mm.
most part, people are out in the streets. I had to go over to the gas station, and beside the gas station is McDonald's. People are outside the McDonald's
Yeah,
doing
they're really, yeah, I saw outside of the Starbucks. Yeah, it was crazy.
everybody.
Um, but that to me just says that, like, yeah, the monopoly that the big telco companies have in Canada on wireless services and even cable television has always been a crime to me. And I hope this is a reason for the government and whoever regulates them to
That's
really
right.
get off of their ass and bring in more competition. We need more competition and better quality service in Canada instead of these three main
And not
companies
so damn
just.
expensive
Yeah,
because
that's
we
where the
do
competition would help. We would bring
well
down the
exactly
prices.
definitely.
Okay, so we were talking about the horrors of the TTC a couple weeks ago with an incident where a random woman, got lit on fire just on a bus the other
Mm,
day. I can't remember the station. I believe it might be the same station what I'm about to talk about here, and that's at Kipling subway station. There was a
okay.
random assault on an 85-year-old woman.
Like
So a
really?
man assaulted her by hitting. I think he punched her, and excuse me, he hit her um in the station. Actually, no, she said the woman was punched in the face. An 85-year-old, a young man, well, maybe not young, but he's definitely younger, punched an 85-year-old woman in the station.
Like
And
oh the chaos. Hmm.
I cannot believe what's going on. And actually, it is the same station. Kipling Station was
Yeah,
one where the woman was lit on fire. And I just saw here that the woman later died of her injuries. So that woman that we talked about a couple weeks ago who got lit on
yeah,
fire at a TTC bus, actually,
yeah,
that later died of her injuries. Wow.
yeah.
TTC, I don't know what's happening, but maybe we need some more security. I don't know what's happening with mental health. People, it's getting wild out here. It's getting wild out here.
It is getting wild out here, and I feel like we have to have more grace for each other.
Yeah, like, but I mean, there's grace, but what do you do when you have somebody who literally is walking up to people and just like punching them in the face? I don't. This
Well,
goes
this is
past
the
grace.
thing. Well, this is the um, okay. When I was growing up, TTC was very cheap. It was
Hmm.
cheap to ride.
Yeah,
Now it has, the price to go on like one trip is almost $4,
yeah,
and
pretty
I
much.
just don't see all of what that pays for because there should be some sort of a security system of some kind. They at one point I remember growing up, they had like TTC cops that were
Hmm.
undercover and that were on the
Yeah, I
trains,
think
on
that's
the
what we need.
buses, driving back and forth, and all of this.
Hmm.
I just feel like something has to be done. I mean, they hike up the price so that they can extend the
The service.
TTC. Really,
Mm.
that's what they did that for. But
Oh, okay.
we need to maybe allocate some funds towards security. And
Yeah.
what I want to also think about is not just the victims, but can you imagine the bus driver?
Yeah, because you're just trying to,
You're behind a very heavy vehicle, okay,
mm,
that has tons of passengers. Any, little mistake could cause a really huge accident on the road. Just the simple fact of that chaos going on while the bus driver is trying to drive. I
mm,
couldn't, like, that is PTSD right there. Like that right
yeah.
there, him
Mm-hmm.
having to, yeah, or her having to deal with that. But there definitely needs to be some security. And I did see a news clip on one of our local stations, and they were saying that they are gonna, enforce more security at Kipling Station because all of this has been happening. And I don't think it's a bad idea. And another thing that I wanted to mention is maybe we need to, look into like our mental health. Like you said,
Mm.
we need to put money into that now. Like we need to help, get out on these streets, and instead of trying to throw people into jail, maybe we need to find another way. You know what I mean? Because this is obviously a mental health situation where you would think it's okay to punch an 85-year-old woman. There's
Hmm.
obviously an issue. So, I'm really sad to hear that the story we were talking about a few weeks, that lady has succumbed to her injury because she was just riding the bus, just a regular schmegular somebody, and now she's gone. And it's a real challenge because this is not the Canada that I know. It's changed
Mm.
quite a bit. And I know the time that we're in, people are desperate, they're hungry, they're,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
going through a lot. And I get that. I get that. But this is not going to solve anything. It's only going to make it worse. So it will give a lot of people, and I thought about this dynamic, and I'll done with this, but the dynamic of people who have to use the TTC to go into their job can now say, well, this is another reason why I want to stay home. This is another reason why I don't want to have to travel into work. And that hybrid model will go from 2 days to one. But anywho, it's sad, but you know what? I hope that the 85-year-old woman will be okay.
Mm-hmm.
And that the person, because I believe I heard that the person is still at large and they're still
Yeah,
trying to
they got a
find
good
them.
video. They got a good quality video of him. I don't think he's gonna be.
No,
I don't
they're
think
going
he's
to
gonna be
catch him.
free for a long time. Yeah.
No, they'll catch him soon. But anywho,
Okay, so let's move on to something a little bit more fun.
please,
We
intense.
didn't get to
Yeah,
record
God.
last week, so we wanted to talk about the BET Awards and do just a quick recap. I'll just go through some of my performances, highlights for me. I was going to start with Lizzo, I believe, opened the show, and Lizzo is a quintessential performer.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she's never going to disappoint, and her song about damn time is actually, I haven't talked about it yet, but I have to give her props. That's actually an amazing single if you want to be in a
It
good
really
mood.
is. It really is.
It's
No,
a
I listen to
really
it.
fun, she's gonna give
Yeah.
you us one thing Lizzo could do is give us a bop, and she really did, and she performed it, and she looked amazing with her gold disco ball outfit. There
Yes.
was some people, there was some, I think, I don't know if it was blogs or social media, but people were trying to say like, oh, some people weren't feeling it, right? But I went before we recorded, we started recording, I actually went back to look at the performance, and when she came out, everybody was standing, because I saw clips where maybe you saw a couple of people standing and most people sitting down on their phone. And I'm like, well, that's not what I saw on TV, right? So I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know. They tried to play Lizzo, and I'm like, I think Lizzo needs to not go to BT Awards anymore. I mean, she always goes, and I think that's because she respects the institution. But I don't know if she's getting the respect back, and like, I wouldn't be mad if she pulled a Nicki and a Beyonce and didn't go
Well,
anymore.
people are gonna attack Lizzo because she lets them. Sorry. Like people
Yeah,
are
no,
always
and
gonna attack you. They're
the
always
blogs.
gonna
Yeah, she didn't say anything. She It wasn't her. She wasn't criticized, but
no, but
I think
it's
it was a
because in the past she has. In the
okay.
past she has, and it's like people are just they're gonna try to push her buttons, you know. I think her
Mm.
performance was awesome. I thought she's a very
Yeah, she's
talented woman,
she's a
and
really
she
good
was showing
performer.
her talent, and I could
Yep.
appreciate that. I could get down with that, you know.
Then the
Mhm.
second highlight for me came a little bit later. I don't know how I feel like, but okay. So Diddy had his. They gave an icon award to, or a legendary music award to Diddy, Lifetime Achievement
Mhm.
Award. Sorry, and he performed, and it was really good. I mean, I was like surprised. I'm like, Diddy didn't get one of these already, but maybe right. But anyway, he got a BT Lifetime Award, and he performed all his big songs. He did the song with he did something with what's his name, the guy from Belize, Shine, the guy with the
Mhm.
voice. I just call him the guy with the voice. Of course, Busta, Pastor Cavosi, amazing. When Busta hits the stage, it's never going to be a
Every time,
disappointment.
bust
Lil
up and
Kim
love
came
you
on.
from time.
Lil Kim came on. She was a mess. I hate to say it, but
Hot
she was a mess.
mess,
I hate to say it, but
just a hot
um,
mess. Mm.
I just, I don't know. And
I'm
then he
sorry,
did
little Kim. You done fucked up your
yeah,
face, bro.
yeah.
You done messed up
Woo.
your face, bro. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's like that K Michelle type of situation. You messed up your face,
Yeah, but at least
man.
K Michelle went off, but at least K Michelle has an. It's not K Michelle, but it's a nice face. It's a very nice face.
Oh
It's a unique
Lord.
face.
And you know
Lil
what?
Kim's
Weight doesn't
face.
sit well on Kim. Like when she,
No,
because
she's
she's
too
so,
small.
it just looks
Yeah,
like a lot, you know?
the
Uh,
hips, she shouldn't have done the body work, because it's just like, I don't know. You know what? I'm not going to say anything about people modifying their body. We've talked enough about it, but it's like, I think she just has true, and I think one time we even had a whole workout, I believe, on Lil Kim and
mhm.
her body dysmorphia. But it's just body dysmorphia. She's ill. She's very much
Yes,
not
and
ill
you
in a
could
good way,
tell.
ill in a
Yeah.
mentally ill way. All the best to her though. And so
Yes.
anyway, the other standout was, which I found weird. I don't know if you saw the clip, but where he brought out Faith Evans, and he did that big song that he did when Biggie died, "I'll Be Missing
Yeah.
You," and
Hmm.
it was really beautiful. And he
Like
dedicated
a
it to
tribute to his ex,
his
when
baby
Kim,
mother who passed away, Kim Porter,
yeah, Kim,
which is, beautiful video montage or
beautiful
whatever.
woman, yeah.
And then he went on to thank every woman
In his damn life, but the one he's
except
with.
in his damn life, except the one he's dating now, as well as, and I'm not going to get into that now. Maybe that's a next week episode. And also, he didn't thank his kids, but I don't think, like, I think he was drunk, to be honest, like, because he was saying some weird things. Like, he thanked Cassie, who's married to another man right now.
Thank
Like,
you,
that
who
was
left
tacky
you,
to me.
who dropped
That
you
was
like
really
hotcakes.
tacky.
Let's just put it straight because Diddy, you deserved it.
Even if you
He
wanted to
dropped
drop her
you like
name,
hotcakes, got with the fitness trainer dude, and had babies and got married, and she's
mhm,
happy.
she's happy. So even if you wanted to name drop her, fine. But he's like, he went out of his way to say, like, it was really weird. So, but anyway, he deserved it. But also, I feel like a lot of people have been talking about how Diddy, like, was very, what's the word? Not scam artist, but like,
Yeah, he was a scam artist.
he didn't treat
There
his
was
artists really well.
none of
It's
them.
kind of like a gray area, but he definitely, he has also made his impact on the culture. So I'm not going to say he doesn't deserve
He
it, but
has,
it's,
but you know what? I feel like he rode the coattails of a lot of people who made the culture what it is. I
mhm,
feel like, you know, listen, I'm from back in the day when Diddy just came out, where he was
mm,
puffy. Okay, not
mhm.
no P Diddy, Diddy Duddy, whatever. Okay, I'm talking about puffy. Okay, and him in the back doing the little bop up and down.
Mm-hmm. The
Yeah,
Diddy
that's the
Bop.
day that I know of Puffy. And for
Mm,
me, he rode the coattails of the people who made it, like
mm-hmm.
Biggie Smalls, like
Mm-hmm.
Craig Mack for a little while, for a
Mm.
little touch. But he did definitely, and a little bit with Mary J. Blige, but he
Oh yeah.
did definitely um, monopolize off of their impact on the culture because it wasn't necessarily Puffy. He was the background dude. And as a matter of fact, in the early 90s, when Puffy was really something, really to talk about, they would clown him. Everybody would clown him. But I'm not going to knock him for what he has accomplished, because he has accomplished a lot. But you know what? With all the billions of dollars that you have and millions of dollars that you have, can you go back and pay all them people, like the band? Can you go pay them people? Can you give them a little money? Give them their royalties, give them their masters, give them their whatever. Like, come on, you done made the big bucks. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's the only part of Puffy that I don't particularly like. I can see that he's a savage businessman, and
Hmm.
that's great. But you stepped on a lot of people to get where you are right now. So I find it hard to accept the tribute the way it was. But I will say one thing about Puffy, P Diddy, Brother Love, is that he will make sure he brings the whole lineup on the stage. He made sure he brings up everybody that was on Bad Boy, that was involved with Bad Boy. He brings them up on the stage, and I'll give him that. If you were one of the good acts, the other
Or the
ones,
people that are still talking to him, because it was
well,
very blatant that Mace wasn't there, and Mace was a big part of Bad Boy's
yeah, and Mason's
success.
still trying to get his money.
Yeah.
So, this is where I have a hard time. Like, I'm in a rough, between a rock and a hard place with P. Diddy here. Because part of me is like, he's a savage businessman. Yo, he had his hustle, he had his grind, from the clothing line to all the big, big things this man did do. However, you didn't get there by yourself. You know what I'm saying? You stepped on a lot of people to get there. One thing I have to make sure we talk about is,
Yes.
why the hell is Kanye up on the damn
That's
stage
exactly what I was gonna say.
covered like a damn terrorist? Like, I can't.
He would hardly breathe. He couldn't even breathe. Breathing heavy and shit.
I can't. I know
Oh
you're
man.
trying to be this big fashion somebody. I get it. But, like, can I at least see your item? Like, can I at least see your item? I don't know. You look like a mad terrorist. Is it really you under there, Kanye? You're looking a little buffer than you usually do. Is that really you? I don't know. It could be anybody
And
underneath
then
there. Shoot.
another two more cool moments that I wanted to call out that were pretty fun. Jack Harlow brought out Brandy, because you remember we were
Yes.
talking about Jack Harley. There, that joke. Well, not a
Yes.
joke. He
He
really
is
didn't
a
know that
talented
Ray
guy,
J
I must
was.
say. He's
Yeah, oh yeah,
talented.
he is. And I actually went back to listen to his album again, and I'm like, yeah, he's a solid artist. Like, he definitely deserves like the props he's getting. No doubt about it. And then Big Lotto came out with Miss Mariah Carey MC.
Push up,
Um,
Mariah. Push up.
yeah, Mariah
Jesus,
had to hold
you
the
move
man's
a
hand
limb,
for a good
Brethren.
five
Like, just
minutes.
move a limb, Brethren, please.
Yeah, yeah. I think her heels were too high or something, so she had to use the support of one of the male dancers. But that was really cool. I really enjoyed what I saw of the BET Awards. It's just getting
Yeah.
better and better every year. So that was it. And quickly before we move into our first segment, Oprah Winfrey, I just saw this. Her father passed away at the age of 89.
Ooh.
I believe it was today I saw that, and I was just gonna call it out because it was this a few. I think it was last week. I saw her celebrating her dad's birthday on Instagram, and she was saying, we had to. I wanted to surprise him because you don't know how many more days, or because he's very sick. And I guess a week later, after his 89th birthday, Oprah's father passed away. He was a former councilman in Nashville and also a deacon in the church. If he's a father of Oprah, I'm sure he was a stand-up man.
Right.
So just shouting that out. And before now, we will go into our first segment,
Mm-hmm.
which is Wagwan for real. In this segment, we talk about stories that just don't add up, don't make much sense to us, and we ask the question: Wagwan for real?
For
And
real.
so this week, I wanted to talk about a major headline that I saw this week, with included mostly Macy Gray as well as Bette Midler, and some comments that they said on Twitter and on television.
Mm-hmm.
So Macy Gray appeared on the Piers Morgan show, and I don't really remember the question, but she said, Macy Gray came on and said, Morgan said, okay, the question that Morgan had asked her is, we're in an era now, basically, where most public figures are too terrified to say what they think a woman is. And then Macy Gray came back. I know. I'd say a human being with boobs. She said that very blunt. I saw the clip. I was like, okay, Macy. We have to know, we have to take what Macy says with a grain of salt as well, because, I don't know. She's always been a bit quirky, right? You have to start there. And a vagina. That's getting confusing. And then she does go on to say, and I will say this, and everyone's going to hate me, but as a woman, just because you go and change your parts doesn't make you a woman. Sorry.
Amen. Mm-hmm.
I know that for a fact. Like, if you want me to call you a her or she, I will, because that's what you want. But that doesn't make you a woman just because I call you her and just because you got surgery. So that is a comment Macy Gray said that has her in trouble, I guess, this week. And the cancel committee is, coming for her. And then Bette Midler had a tweet that said, "Women of the world, we are stripped of our rights over our bodies, our lives, even our name. They don't call us women anymore. They call us
Mm-hmm.
birthing people or menstruators and even people with vaginas. Don't let them erase you. Every human on earth owes you." So I think this is coming back, and these type of sentiments, which some people would call turf sentiments, especially if
Mm-hmm.
you're like the trans community.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm just speaking out of my ass here, people. Just commenting on what I'm seeing. But I think because of the Roe versus Wade thing, I feel like your identity as a woman is very, very important, because women are the one who are going to suffer with the reversal of, or the dismantling of, the Roe versus Wade constitutional right. And I think that's why this whole definition of a woman is coming up again. And personally, I would like to be standard corrected, but from what I'm
Mm-hmm.
seeing, I don't really see much of the trans community like speaking up against this whole Roe versus Wade thing. And I think that's
Mm-hmm.
where I feel this contention. That's my opinion. That's my assumption. I can, I think the conversation is ongoing, but I could do feel like now that women's rights are under attack, those who identify as women, or
Mm-hmm.
what are you saying? Like, you
Well,
say you're.
well, here's how I feel about it. Is
Mhm,
that first I want to. So here I'm going to take it in a tiered system.
mhm,
First, I feel like God is love, and so we should show love for
mhm.
everybody.
Yes,
And so, me calling you she when you're not a she, or referring to you as a woman, it's because I genuinely want you to be happy and want
yes,
you to be comfortable in the situation. And I'm going to show you grace and love in that way.
yes.
Let's not get it twisted. Okay? Let's not get it twisted. I am the blueprint. Okay? I am a woman. I was born a woman. I have female genitalia. I have a reproductive system. And that's
Mhm.
what biologically qualifies me to be a woman. And I'm going to call
And
myself
your
that as
XY chromosomes.
exactly. Exactly.
Mhm.
That too. That plays a strong factor if we want to get deeper into biology. But
Mhm.
no, but for real,
Yeah, for real. Yeah.
I'm not going to take away from how you identify. And that's why I'm going to show you grace and love. But I'm not going to pretend as though I am not the classification of what a woman is. I'm not going to do that for you.
Mhm.
And I think if the trans community has grace and love for us being heterosexual women, then this would be a lot easier of something that we can overcome. But if you feel like I should extend that to you and not the other way around, Bette Midler she's very correct. We are being, the woman is being erased from our identities. Whether we want to believe it or not, it is. We're being told with Roe versus Wade of how our body is supposed to be used and when. And now we have the trans community now telling us that they're not going to call us what our biological name would be, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I have a problem with that because it's not extending the same grace that is expected. You can't expect what you're not willing to give. So if you are not willing to understand that I am biologically a woman and I should be identified as such, then you shouldn't have a problem when people like Macy Gray or Bette Midler have something different to say about this whole topic. Now, I've told you before, and we talked about it before, I have a real hard time rocking with this whole, feminist women's movement to some level,
Mm-hmm.
because when the time comes to defend me as a woman in this struggle, I don't get that same reciprocation. You understand? And I'm of a different sector of the women's movement. Um, and so, with that being said, if anybody other than a biological woman that has a uterus, that has a vagina, that has, fat deposits in their chest, okay, it,
Mm-hmm.
if you can't give me that and extend me that grace and humility, then we don't really have much to talk about. We don't really have
Mm-hmm.
much to discuss, and I don't care who wants to come for me on that. As a Christian, I believe that God made a man and he made a woman. Now, what you feel like in that body, I can't identify with that.
Mm-hmm.
Only you can.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to be kind to you in that identification, and you should be kind to me in mine.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I'm saying. So don't try to call me baby maker, uh, menstrual cycle, whatever words that. No, I'm a woman. And
Mm-hmm.
it's funny how you want the word to be applied to you, but you want to call me something other than. And let's just be quite honest here. I know people are gonna come for my neck on this, but I'm not the other. Let's just put it like that. I'm not the other. Of this
Yeah,
equation,
I hear you.
I'm not the other. And so that's how I feel about that. Macy Gray,
Yeah.
you're funny as hell. Like, I can't even deal with you. You pop up out of
I
no
can't
damn place. I don't know where the hell
out
you
of
came
no
from, but
damn
you know
place.
what? Out of no damn place. But I can't even hear about Macy Gray no more. But my girl has comments. And you know what? Hey, they're of an older generation, and I think there also has to be an understanding that that generation, there's a cold, hard line of who's a woman and who's a man. If they extend grace to that sector, then that's different. It's because they want to. They're showing you love. They're showing you kindness.
Mm-hmm. Respect.
But
Yeah.
don't get it twisted. Like, don't get it twisted. There's a very hard line, you know. And so the trans community, we love you. We do, for whoever you
Mm-hmm.
to identify with.
Mm-hmm.
But I identify myself as what the biological term is, and that's woman.
That's it.
I am a woman. I am a woman. Use the cis. Use the cis. I'm the woman. I'm the blueprint. I'm sorry, but I
I'm
am.
trying
I'm the
not to
blueprint,
laugh.
and use the cis. So, like, like let's not,
Yeah, I get your
and I
point.
don't
I get
think
your
that should
point.
be an attack. Like, I don't think you should
No,
try
no,
to
no.
attack
And I
us on
think
that
that's
either.
that's
Like,
that's where I feel kind of bad for these two women, Macy Gray and Bette, like they're coming under heavy, heavy fire and criticism. I'm just like, like we have to just, like you said, Grace, like we need to understand where they're coming from. Like, do you understand what's happening here, especially in their country, in the United States? Like, you need to understand why there's a fear of them, you even removing that, like you said, not title, but that part of their identity. Don't call me a
mhm.
menstruator. I'm more than a menstruator. I'm
Like,
a woman.
how dare you? Like, who the hell? At
Um,
least I
but
can end
like, I
straight.
hope that
Shit.
this dies over.
Don't tell me. Don't
This
tell me.
hilarious. I
Don't
hope
tell
this
me.
dies over quickly for them, and again, it's so funny. I was listening to um I was on Netflix earlier today, and
Mhm.
Dave Chappelle, he recently got, it was like a 30-minute thing that he did on anything he does looks like Netflix capitalizes on. But he was, remember, his school gate was going to name a theater after him, and then all the controversy that happened with his last special, the
Mhm.
students and all this backlash. They tried to take that away, but then they eventually they did give him the honor. And the cool thing, spoiler alert, is that he ends it saying, I'm not ready for this to be named after me yet, especially considering everything that's happened in the last year. But this is a name I do want it to have, for now, which it was the Theater of Artistic Freedom and Expression. And the point he's bringing there, especially if you think of the context of the closer and everything that happened there, and even what we're
Mhm.
talking and the backlash that these two women are facing, we're so fortunate. Both us here, you and I in Canada, and Bette Midler and Macy Gray over in the US,
Mhm.
we live in a country where you can say something about your government,
Thank you.
about the religious institutions, about the person, your next door neighbor,
It's
and
called a
not face.
democracy, damn it.
Yes, we're free. We're
Okay.
in a
Shoot.
free world. We're in the free world where you can say something and nobody will kidnap you in the night, and because you make a comment on whatever community or even a political figure. You can say fuck you to the president and leave, go into your bed and sleep comfortably at night. For the
Mhm.
most part. No, at the very least, military isn't going to kidnap you and put you in jail.
Mhm.
So we should cherish the fact that we have that. Everybody. So just like Bette Midler and Macy Gray say something that upsets this community,
Mhm.
you as a community could say something as well, right? They're not directing at you as an individual, but you as
Mhm.
individuals are attacking these people. And it's just like, why can't we just say what we have to say? And if we disagree, say we disagree, and leave it there. Just leave it there. Everybody has different opinions. It's just like, I don't know. The world is crazy, but I understand where they're coming from, and I'm giving them grace. Maybe I I get it. Maybe I don't know. I don't know. The community is angry, and they have a right to be angry. But I think everybody needs to listen to each other, and we need to protect our freedoms. And right now, we need to protect the freedoms of women in the U.S. and also stand guard over here in
Yeah,
Canada of
there's
our
bigger
freedoms
fish
here.
to fry. I'm sorry. There's bigger fish to fry than this. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. There just is. And on top of that, as a trans person who is in transition to becoming a woman, don't you want to be amongst women who are willing to accept you and you accept them?
Mm-hmm.
Like, isn't that the overall goal of the
Yes.
movement? Is to, be included and to have a safe space? You know, hey, you know what? Hey, the world that we live in right now, there's so much more that we have to worry about than cis over here trying to, steal the title of woman. Okay, there's so much more to life right now. I'm sorry, there just is. But you know what, Jeanette? I want to move on.
Yes.
I wanted to move on into the call out.
They call out.
Yes, and we have not done the call out in a hot minute, but we are
Mm.
doing it tonight. And this is when me and Jeanette, we take turns putting each other in the hot seat with just different random questions.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to try to keep this segment a little short because our workout
Yes.
is going to be on and popping. But
Mm.
anywho, let's go into the question. So my question is, if there was one thing or one subject I should say that you could teach to all black people, what would it be? Give
Go
you a
ahead.
chance to think about that. So the one subject that I would want to teach to all black people is finance.
Mm-hmm.
Finance, finance. There's so many black people out here who do not have an understanding of finances. They don't have an understanding of credit, mortgages, mortgage rates, budgeting. This is not something that I felt was ever really taught in school.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It was very generalized in certain subjects, but other than that, you were taught how to add, subtract, multiply, divide.
Mm-hmm.
But they never sat down and told you about credit and how
Yeah.
to attain it and keep it and have it increase, and how to budget and how to manage money. And I feel like um, money in general for me. Many years ago, I started looking into this whole concept of money,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to come out of that poor man's way of looking at money.
Mm-hmm.
And I say that because the richest people that I know, you would never know they're rich. You would never know that they're wealthy. You'd never know that they have houses all over the city. You would never know because they don't look at money in the same way. They
Mm-hmm.
look at it as a tool and that's it. A tool to get from one maybe income bracket to another. Uh, Not the way that we see portrayed all around us in our culture of what money is supposed to look like. Another person who I've started listening to with this money talk is Shaq. Believe it or
Mm-hmm.
not, Shaq has a
Yeah.
lot of very positive, inspiring, and motivating thoughts about money and just the concepts of money. I'm not
Yeah.
talking about going out there spending money. No, as a matter of fact, if you listen to him on different podcasts, he'll give you an example. He'll take a piece of paper, he'll break it in half, and he'll say, "Now, someone who's rich, they'll take half of this paper and save it, and the other half they'll blow. Someone who's wealthy will take that half of a half and split it in half and continue to put that in another savings
Mm-hmm.
and only rock with a quarter."
Mm.
So just different things that I've heard him say. And I feel like as Black people, it's a topic that should be addressed because sometimes it's at our detriment where we don't understand it to the real effect where it can help us and elevate us. Also, if we did, maybe we could have our own institutions. We could
Yeah.
have
It
our
is.
own.
It's towards the path of economic freedom. So yeah, of
Exactly. And
course.
I feel
Mm-hmm.
like the very basics of what it's about, is lacking in our communities. I find that sometimes, Black people who do know, they don't spread the word.
Yeah, I
They
think that's
just
the problem. Yeah.
they just hold on tight to it and that's that. So that would be something that I would want to teach if I could,
Yeah, that's pretty much the same answer I was gonna have. I knew right away when he asked me that was actually gonna be financial literacy.
right. It's very important. But I will say that I was kind of tied with
Mhm.
another one. And the other thing is emotional stability.
Is that something that's
Emotional.
taught or?
No, I think it needs to be taught. I do.
How can that
Because
be
there's
taught?
some
That's not a
people who are just
course.
not emotionally stable enough in certain relationships to really have those relationships thrive, and to be a safe space. But that's why I was kind of toiling with the two, but I knew for sure with the finances. But so okay,
Mhm.
that's my question. That was
Okay,
wrapped up real quick in a
before I
bow.
ask my question, ask you my question, I was just going to recommend a podcast called Earn Your Leisure, to our listeners. It's pretty popular. It's on Charlemagne's Black Effect Network, and it's all about educating Black people on investing and saving and wealth and economic freedom. So wanted to call that out since we were talking about it. It's a really good
Nice.
resource to check
Charlemagne,
out.
you do something good round here, so good.
So my question was very light and fun. What is your favorite childhood TV show? There's
Oh,
so many. Well, I guess what you can remember. There's so many now that I asked you the
oh
question.
man.
Um, but there's actually so
Because there's a
many.
few.
I even the
There's definitely a few for me. Okay, I'm just gonna list out a few. I know I shouldn't have been watching this, but Arsenio Hall. Arsenio
yeah,
Hall
that was a
show
good one.
was the
Yeah.
bomb.com. I don't care what nobody wants to tell me. Second was In Living Color. In Living Color was
Oh my
was
god,
the joke
Living Color.
of the day. Like I had to see it. I had to. Okay, like I couldn't go
Remember,
without.
and I remember everybody, like, we had the class clown who would be playing "Homie Don't
Yes,
Play That." The clown, so it would be
yes.
"Homie Don't Play That," and the guy would
But we
have the
don't play
sock
that.
and Lawanda.
It was like I'm in Living Color was
It's classic,
like that was
classic.
the dopest show. I still remember to this day. Like I could remember different scenes, but anyhow.
So
So
you
I
were
would say
not
that.
watching child appropriate
No, well,
content.
no, I wasn't. I'll be honest.
No, me
I
neither.
was
Like,
too
I know
fast
I
for my
was never
britches.
like, my parents worked late in the night. My mom worked nights
Yeah.
and my dad worked late, so I didn't have a lot of supervision. So I actually did watch a lot of things that I wasn't supposed to watch. But if
Do
we're
you remember
gonna
Elf?
go with the
Do you remember Elf
yeah,
or
oh, that
Alf?
was my show.
Alf was my show. Okay, he was
Elf
supposed to
was
be
like
like a Martian
classic.
or something. He was funny as hell. Like he was so
He was
funny.
so sarcastic.
I remember though, but that's a more child appropriate show, I guess.
Yeah, that was a
But
family show. Yeah.
and then there was
Um
also, the Cosby Show, Facts of Life.
Cosby. Yeah, yep.
Like these were shows that, and what happened? We used to dominate the TV. We used to
Yeah, the
dominate the
T
TV
Oh yeah. So when
big
okay, so
time.
I'll throw out a few that jump out and okay, so one that's not child appropriate since we're talking about the child theme shows, but I was a child watching this was Married with Children.
Yep, but
There is also Pinky and the Brain.
yes, shouldn't have been watching that
Um
neither. Yes, me too. Hmm.
there was okay a cartoon. There was this cartoon, I can't remember the name of it, but remember they had like a raccoon and then they had like these weird characters. It was a cartoon. I just remember the raccoon in the
Teddy
cartoon, but
Ruxpin. Teddy Ruxpin. No.
maybe is it Teddy? But Teddy Rex, I don't know if it was that. And then there was like the one where they had like obviously Smurfs, and then there was
Care
another
Bears.
Care Bears. Yep, Care Bears. And then I'm gonna name a classic one as a kid. Saved by the Bell on Saturdays.
Saved
It was
by
like
the Bell.
Saved by the
That
Bell was a
was the lick.
classic.
I used to
That was a
love
classic.
Slater, man. I used to think he was so hot. I was like,
Yeah, I
Slater's so
swore I was like
cool.
Slater, and because he had curly hair, I like by
Yep.
association, I'm like, yeah, he's a black character.
Yep, he's the black character. Yeah.
Okay, and then
Yeah.
I have one last cartoon that I really loved, and that was Beetlejuice because I was obsessed with the
Beetlejuice,
movie.
Beetlejuice. I won't say it 3 times.
Don't say it
Um,
3 times because I was so obsessed with the
no, I'm
movie. And
not
then
gonna
when
say it.
there's a
I said it
cartoon when I was
twice
a
already.
kid,
That's enough.
so yeah.
You know
So
what?
anyway,
Another
that
one
was
that really scared me was
which one is that?
Candyman.
I
Candyman.
didn't
I
know they had a
remember Candyman.
Candyman. Are you talking about the
Yeah,
movie? Or was there a
I
cartoon?
remember the first movie. They came out with the second the other
Yeah, I
day, but
saw
I
the
remember
second
the
one
first
because
one.
my favorite actor or one of my favorite actors is in that. Yaya Mateen is in that, so I made sure I went to the theater to watch that shit. I was like, Yaya's in it. His shirt
Those
comes
were
off.
those days, man. Those
Oh,
sick.
and Tales from the Crypt Keeper. I mean, remember
Yes,
YTV?
Buffy the
YTV had
Vampire
all the
Slayer.
shows.
Remember Buffy? Buffy the Vampire Slayer? Yup.
And then, oh, Where in the
90210.
World is Carmen Sandy? Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego? That was another one I
Yes,
loved. And
that was
oh,
a
okay,
good
I have
one
one.
too.
This is how we have to end it. We have to end this one because it was a local one. Ghost Rider.
Yep. Yep.
Ghost Rider
Yep.
was my shit after school. I
It
was like
was
filling
the
out those
bomb.
clues. Like
Drop me them clues. Drop me
anyway,
them clues.
we're having too much fun. I think yeah, we're good. That was a good one. It was a really good one.
Yes.
Memory lane.
Yes. So, well, with that being said, all that fun, we'll just carry it on into the workout. Yes, this is where we work out our hearts and exercise our mental fitness, doing deep dive discussions on different issues that are impacting our culture. And so, one particular topic that I wanted to discuss was this viral video. Okay, this viral video. I had to watch it in its entirety because I could not understand. So this viral video is of a mother who is dragging her baby father of her fourth child. Let's just put that out there. Her fourth child over only feeding his son. So, okay, now when I watch this video, this man rolls up in his car, comes to an establishment. It didn't look like an apartment or anything like that. Comes to this establishment with lunch for his child, and the baby mother is getting on stink in at his treat. Oh, why did you come here with one meal? One that doesn't look like it can feed all my kids, and my child. That child can't have that. Is and then he was saying, I came here to drop off my child something. Why am I responsible for the other three that you got? Right? And so her response back was, well, he is the sibling of these other kids. And it's not going to look right or be right that you roll up in here with McDonald's for the one child and the other kids can't get nothing, you know? And here's my thing with this whole video, because I had to watch it in full. Now, the black man had a lot of good points. I must say, I'm gonna give it to him because he could have just went off at the neck. A lot of black men I know would have just took the food, got in their car, and dipped. Okay, because they don't want to have to stand on a street corner having this out with you and having their child have to hear that. So she's going off, and I can understand her perspective, but they're not his children. So let's discuss this, Jeanette, because I'm sure you saw the video. What did you think about this mother and her behavior in the viral video?
First of all, okay, we don't have all the context. All we have is this video. So me going on the video that I saw, I mean, she should have told him, bring 5 kids meals or 4 kids meals, like, or don't bring nothing. Because if you say bring food for your son, then he's going to bring food for his son. Right? You know what I mean? So it's like to me, it's like I don't know what the communication was, because I could easily see a mother saying, oh, just bring food for your son, right? And he's going to take it as, okay, even though she has 4 kids, she said bring food for my son. So I'm bringing food for my son.
Right.
It'd be like, did she say bring food for the kids?
Right.
I don't know.
In the video, this is why I watched the entire video. It's about a 4.5-minute video. And in the video, she says that she's not getting her food stamps until the 11th of July. So that's, if you're going to come with food, you have to come and feed all of them and not just the one. Now, I'm torn. I'll just be straight up. I'm torn. First of all, he didn't have 4 kids with you. He had one. Okay? He had one child. Now, if in the kindness of his heart, he wants to bring food for groceries, the other children, then I think he should do that. And you should let him. However, he only had one child with you. And where I sided with the black man was he said, they're your responsibility, not mine. So if you know that I'm going to bring food for my son, then you should supply your children with food. Or give me my son so that I can go and have lunch with him.
Because if you're saying like the whole food stamp thing, right? First of all, if you don't have food stamps, you should be telling him to buy groceries and not stopping at the local fast food joint to bring a meal. Because even if he brought a meal for everybody, it's still only one meal for that day. It would have been better for you to ask him either to give you $100 or to bring groceries.
The
It would
same
have been
amount of
better for
money
you to.
that he spent on that meal, she could have made a whole spaghetti meal for her and her kids
There
for
you
the
go.
same
They could
price.
hold them for a couple of days.
Okay. So the reason why I brought up the food stamp part was that I want to show a perspective here. Now, here's a woman who has 4 children. She obviously is not making an income that could suffice to raise all 4 children, and therefore she's on food stamps. Now, when you laid down and you had one, two, 3 children, you didn't say at no point, should I stop? I can't afford the 3 that I got, but I'm going to have another. Now, I'm not trying to say she shouldn't have as many kids as she wants to, but
Mm-hmm.
you should be able to afford them. You should be able to provide them with food. You shouldn't have to look to food stamps.
Mm.
But okay,
Or
things
better plan,
happen.
even if you have to use the food stamps, but like plan, like come on, like this is
Plan
poor
for it.
planning. If you
You
know
should, and that's where I
your food
side with the
stamps
black
come at a
man on
certain
this.
time.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I stand with the black man on this. Like his responsibility is his one child, and he is doing that. So why are you now going to take away from your child, that's his, the opportunity of enjoying the McDonald's meal? So he can't have it because you have 3 other kids. So your son can't have that McDonald's meal because you have 3 other children. When did that become your last child's problem? That's
Yes, but
my
I
thing,
also feel like
right?
like I hear you, I agree, but it's also I know you don't have this situation, but but you know you have friends or whatever where they have step siblings and stuff, and it does create a toxic environment when one kid's father is more
It
active and
sure
present,
does.
and then and they so their siblings will basically be on them and maybe treat them different and tease them and
They
thing
sure
because
will.
really they're just jealous. So it's a in a way it's better for her to not let him have that food because it's gonna create a bad unless you were to cut it up and share it, but you can't.
And
I don't
this
know
is
to
where
share.
I'm torn. And because
Mm,
as a mother, I understand what she's saying. It's
mm,
not right for her to allow one child to enjoy that meal and not the other
mm,
ones. I
mhm.
understand that and I agree with her on that. But where my agreement stops is that why does every man thereafter that you have children with have to pick up the other 3? They didn't have
Yeah,
those
that's
children
well.
with
Hey,
you.
that's the
And
argument.
you didn't stop having children neither. You couldn't afford to have
Mm,
those children, but you kept having children. So that's fine. That's cool. What you should have done is send your child with his father for lunch. They go out,
yes.
come pick up your son, and take him out. That's what you should have done. Because I don't
Hmm.
think that it's entirely fair that that child gets to miss out now. Because that small child missing out for a decision that his mother made, not just in this situation of not giving the other
Hmm.
kids the food, but you made the decision to keep having children that you couldn't afford to now where I can't have a McDonald's meal that my dad brings me. So that's not fair
Yeah.
either. So I think the best solution would have been come draw for your kid. Come draw
Yeah,
for your
in
kid.
this case, without context, I feel like it would have in his case for so it wouldn't look so bad, because it does look bad that he just brought the meal, like one meal. You know what I
It
mean? But
does
if
look
she
bad,
told
and
him
I
to
think
come,
he shouldn't.
but
He
I
should
think
have just came for his son.
yeah, he
Just
should
came
have
for
just
his son and
take
picked
your
him up.
kid and yeah.
Go off and have a good old funky time. It's bad
Mm-hmm.
enough that you're taking up your child and the other three's fathers are not coming for them. It's bad enough, but at least
Mm-hmm.
you go with your child. Your child will get to have that experience or have that food or whatever the case might be. But I'll say, me and my fiance, he's a single father and I'm a single mother.
Mm-hmm.
Before we're not married yet, so we're in the midst, and from get go, from rip, I already let him know what my standards are. And as a woman with a child, there's no way in this world that any man is going to come into my life and think he's going to feed me and not my child, or he's going to feed his child and not my child. There's no way. So it's food we're talking about here. It's something that you eat and you shit out. So really, you should have just draw for your child and go take him where you wanted to, or you should have brought the 5 hamburgers or 4 hamburgers or whatever and give the babies the food. Now,
it's nothing.
Where I think she's wrong, why do you have to talk to the man like that? Why are you cussing him out on the street? See, this is where the catch-22 comes about, is that half the time as black women, we're saying, mans them don't do nothing for the youth them. And when they do something for the youth them, you want to rail them up on the street corner. So you see, there has to be a medium here. You know, there has to be a medium here. And I
think she again, like we said, like there's a point, like both of them have a point in this crazy story that's like super crazy. I'm still not sure if it's real or not, but let's go with it being real. She obviously has a problem with selecting outside of, you know, she has 4 kids and it looks like she can't really afford the 4 kids if you're begging people to bring food for them. But also like selecting your child's father, like, and we know she's obviously not being picky, again, because she has her kids have different fathers, right? But it's like, if you're going to lay down with somebody and not use protection and know there's a chance to have a child, why don't you like be conscious of who that is? Because this person too is the man who brought the meal. There's only 2 categories that he can fall in. Either he's too broke to buy 4 kid meals, or he's too petty to buy 4 kids meals. Either way, both of them is not a good selection in having a child with.
But here's a nuanced question I wanted to ask you off of this. Now, if he was with her, it looks like they're not together.
No,
in this video. No. If he was with her, I agree that he should pay for her children.
Of course. If they're in a relationship and he wasn't buying the kids food, I'd be like, lady, like I would still turn back on her and be like, are you done? Like, this is who you're, this is your, like, I would still blame her. Because if they're together and he did it, oh Lord.
That's even worse.
That's even worse.
Okay, yeah. Should he technically be doing it if he's not with her?
That's the thing. It's hard. I can't say that. No, because it comes down to, if he in his heart said, oh, the lady says she doesn't have any food, so that means my child that's with her doesn't have any food, I'm going to get him food. Unless she tells him, don't bring it unless you're going to bring 4 meals, then he's just doing what he thinks he should do for his child. So I can't wrong him. I can't really wrong him for bringing 1 meal. I don't know the context. Like, did you explicitly tell him to bring 4 meals? Because there's some people, men, especially men, they're just so one-track minded. Unless you tell them. He's just thinking, I need, like, you know what I mean? He's not thinking about those kids because they're not his kids. He's just not thinking.
He's thinking about his child.
That's it. So if you want him to think of your kids, then tell him.
Well,
he's not obligated. He doesn't have
even to. Even if you do, but is he obligated?
He's not obligated. No, he's not.
So so what it really is, he's not obligated. They're not his children. They're not his responsibility. So this would be purely out of the goodness of his heart.
Yes. A good person would do it. Yes.
Right. So when he's standing up ordering the food, he's saying, put 4 more burgers in there.
Yes, please. And again, I'm just thinking, even if, like I said, if he didn't grow up in a mixed household where you have mixed blended family, you know, we all know we're Black people. We all have family members who are in that situation, and you know it's not good when some of the siblings, their dad is involved and it's not. So to create a healthy environment, you just don't have that, put a target on his back by giving him all these great things, and the siblings will be there jealous and treating them bad because of that, because they're jealous. And this is
Mm-hmm.
food, like you said. It's not, we're not talking about gifts or nothing. It's food. Like, it's fast. McDonald's, buy a $1
Thank
in the
you.
States, especially in the States. Buy $1, buy four $1 burgers and a couple of fries. They're good. They're kids. Like,
Right? Right. Now, my next nuance question is, was it appropriate for her to handle this like this?
I think she shouldn't have videotaped this and put it on the internet, because at the end
But
of the
even
day,
to get
even though
upset with him.
she again, I don't know what was communicated. I think it all comes down to what was communicated. If she told him to bring, say, this is how I'm picturing it happened. She was saying something about food stamps and said, your kid is hungry, and he said, oh, he's hungry, I'll bring him food. And so, as a simple-minded man who's just, they're one-track minded, if you don't tell them any different, they're just going to be focused on the problem, and that my kid needs food, right?
Right.
Unless you tell him, the kids need food, can you buy groceries for us, or give me $50 to buy groceries, then what else do you expect? And then, so I put it on her. It all comes down to what was communicated. And because I don't
Right.
know that, I don't want to rail her up too much, but she already, like, he doesn't look great, but she doesn't look good either. You know what I mean?
Well,
Like, her even,
yeah. No, I
she was
agree.
trying to put it, she was trying to put the man on blast, but she really put herself on blast, to be honest.
She sure did. She told us that she's getting on the 11th of July. Um, but you know, I don't know. I guess I look at things sometimes from a different perspective, being that
Hmm.
I am a single mom.
Hmm.
And, there comes a time where, as a single mom, you realize you are all you really got in
Mm.
terms of raising this child, right? And now for me, I lucked out. God blessed me with good support system, you know. But there's times where you realize that it's only you out here,
Yeah. Hmm.
And with that being said, I don't know if I would put myself in a position where I would have to have any sort of conversation about the child not eating,
Right?
or the
This is
child needing
food
food,
here. Yeah.
right? Like, I think I would have gone to a food bank before
Mm.
I called you up for food. You
Hmm.
understand? Um, if I'm calling you up, it's not for food. It's give me money, bro. Okay? Give me the money for the pitney. See me? Yeah,
Mm.
that's the conversation we'd be having. And how I choose to handle that money is, a different, that's my business and
Yeah.
taking that
Because
child.
look what his idea was, food was. He went and bought McDonald's. Like,
Right? So I don't see, myself being comfortable in that position to even put that on him like that. Do you know what I
hmm
mean? It's his child. I get it. But then you need to call and ask for money so you could buy groceries until you get your food stamps. You're giving the child McDonald's where there's no substance in the food. So even if he brought McDonald's for all your children, that's one meal. That's just one meal.
yeah. So she's
What about
already
the next
looking for,
meal?
yeah.
Because
Groceries is a
children, let me
key to
tell you
go.
something about children. Children, they eat you out of house and home, bro. When I was young and I heard that, I never really could understand it. But because when children are growing, they need to eat. And
Mm.
if you're a parent that wants them to eat healthy, they're eating all the time. You understand? There's more times, you know, when I was on maternity leave, for instance, and I just felt like I was constantly cooking, like I was constantly, like the food just kept coming. Like it just, like that was our only, the next step, well, to eat. Oh, what's for lunch?
Hmm.
Like by the time I finish breakfast, I'm already thinking about lunch. So like the kids are eating all the time. So that's only one meal, bro. So I don't know, if you should really be carrying on like this with this man on the street corner when, you don't even have the next meal planned. Even if he did bring it. You know what I'm saying? Like, what about tomorrow? The 11th isn't until Monday, bro. So, you know what I mean? So, I don't know. I don't know. But hey, kudos to you, girl. You wanna cuss your baby father out on the street, put him on blast like that? Really? Now your children have to hear that? Because I also strongly believe that there's certain things that children just shouldn't know about. There's certain things that children just shouldn't hear. Where their next meal is coming from is one of those conversations they just shouldn't know about. They don't put a child in a position where they have to worry if they're going to have another meal.
Yeah.
That they have to hear you carrying on over food. And not only that, but the kids done heard that there was McDonald's outside. You understand? Like, you just put everything on blast. So you might have thought that you were doing good, you know, but you put it so on blast that the kids already know about it. So how good were you doing? You know, I don't know. That's up to interpretation. But with all that being said, let's try to bring this around to some positivity up in here. And that is, you know, Jesus fed thousands with one loaf of bread and some fish. Food is just sustenance and nourishment to another day. We should look at it as such. Help your fellow man. Understand your fellow man. Give some grace and courtesy and mercy to your fellow man. You know, whether you're transgender up here, okay, or you're a baby daddy bringing McDonald's for your child. Have some grace.
Buy the extra burgers.
Just buy the damn dollar burgers at the... Shoot. Actually, take your ass to the grocery store. Take your ass to the grocery store.
Go to the grocery store, it's true, yeah.
Shoot. That's what you should have done. But anyways, we all live and we all learn. And that's the whole point in this game called life. So we're going to keep it moving. Yes, so we do hope that your hearts and your minds were activated on this week's show. Whether you lead with your heart or your mind, please stay passionate and thoughtful, everyone. Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.